on the subject of wrestling records can frequently repeat itself, something that's maximum. Generally the case with storylines being reused, where Speak Me approximately matters, which includes CM Punk, threatening to leave Ring of Honor with the arena, Identify in 2005, after which recreating the summertime season of Punk in 2011, WWE. However, it is now no longer usually angles that repeat themselves. No on occasion, it is the characters themselves, and it is the one's characters we are going to be searching at proper. Now beginning with the twin memories of Mick Foley and Sami Zayn, sure returned at some stage in the flip of the millennium duration. There has been no more adorable underdog in wrestling than Mrs. Foley's toddler boy, and the cause for that changed into due to the fact, together, along with his shaggy canine seams and his too fine for wrestling persona, it appeared like there has been no manner he changed into ever going to attain the pinnacle of the cardboard, with inside the shark-infested waters that had been the WWF locker room. However, with inside the give-up, Mick did attain the pinnacle of the cardboard hell. By the point all changed into stated and performed, he'd be a three-time WWF champion, and now no longer simply that. He'd be a few of the bigger stars of his technology, most effective, a step below human beings, like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. How does this examine to Sami Zayn's profession with inside the contemporary day? Nicely, it is splendid how comparable matters are, due to the fact, like with Foley, Zayn additionally felt like a person who changed into usually going to have a ceiling in WWE in large part, on account of him now, no longer genuinely becoming the mold for what Vince McMahon noticed in a pinnacle famous person. However, then something took place with inside the summertime season of 2022. Vince left the organization for the first time, and that opened the door for the Quebec local to take his adorable underdog act, all of the manner to the important occasion scene as a part of the bloodline. It really is proper with the aid of using leaning into his more comedic facet. Sami changed into capable of do precisely what mankind had performed all the ones years earlier, with Mr. Sacco turning into one of the largest toddler faces in all of WWE positive. He won't have won a global identify, but however, there's nonetheless time for such a issue to show up, and if and whilst it does, it's going to completely solidify the honorary us as being the contemporary day Mick Foley entire, with shaggy seams and persona so adorable. It is impossible now, no longer to get at the back of him on every occasion. He comes out through the curtain. However, Sami Zayn isn't always the most effective modern-day WWE celebrity who serves as a contemporary day counterpart to a performer from a preceding era. No, the precise same issue will be stated while Speak Me approximately our subsequent topics too. Seth Rollins and Triple H now at the face of factors. This one won't appear so apparent because the architect and the sport are very specific performers with inside the ring. However, one of the matters they definitely do have in not unusual place is that they're each the leaders of stables, which seems set to now no longer simply dominate Raw, however additionally construct the future of the emblem whilst they are at it. It really is proper. All of us consider that. Returned with inside the early 2000s, Triple H changed into driving excessive on the purple emblem, because the World Heavyweight Champion, and a part of the cause, he changed into capable of. Try this changed into due to the fact he had Evolution, with the aid of using his facet, who had been the other participants of Evolution nicely. If for any cause you have forgotten they had been Ric Flair, Randy Orton, and Dave Batista, manifestly, then whilst a part of the aim of this desk changed into to maintain Paul Lee on Pinnacle, every other, a part of the aim changed into to make Orton and Batista stars too, and this is something that's presently being echoed on WWE TV and what Seth Rollins has been doing considering WrestleMania 41. Why is that nicely? After aligning himself with Paul Heyman at this display, he'd quickly shape a solid, which additionally included modern up-and-coming famous person of tomorrow, Bronn Breakker, manifestly. Then the plan right here is apparent, and that plan is twofold. One flips Seth right into a contemporary day version of T. Important eventing WrestleMania inside the following couple of years. And if that takes place, the comparisons among Evolution and this present-day model of the Dangerous Alliance may be completely there. As we'll have visible, the latter be capable of truly increase that subsequent era. Simply the identical manner. Triple H and Ric Flair did lower back with inside the day. Hell so desirable of a process might they do at this lower back. With inside the early to mid 2000s, Batista might emerge as getting a present-day counterpart of his very own, and that counterpart is none, apart from you subsequent concern, Bronn Breaker. Yeah, this one bears going into in a touch extra detail, as it truly is amazing how many similarities there are among those performers, positive the apparent comparison to make. Whilst we are speaking approximately, Bronson Steiner might be both his father, Rick Steiner, or his uncle Scott Steiner. However, in reality, we're given plenty extra in common with Big Dave. Why is that properly lower back in the day? Big Dave became capable of have a meteoric upward thrust to the pinnacle of the cardboard in WWE, in large part due to the fact, even as he became nonetheless fairly green, on the time he became dripping in a lot air of mystery and had such an outstanding powerhouse flow set, it became not possible to disregard him, and those records had been best similarly emphasized as soon as he joined Evolution, and in lots of approaches have become the actual breakout big name of that solid even extra than Randy Orton. Come on now, it became Batista, who might cross directly to defeat Triple H for the World Heavyweight name at WrestleMania, 21 in the climax of the quality tail line of that generation, now no longer the Viper, and it is Dave who might in lots of approaches grow to be the face of SmackDown, with inside the years following. Manifestly, then WWE are hoping history repeats itself right here, with Bronn Breaker, as they are in reality sending that young rookie down the identical direction of being the muscle in a solid of extra experienced people. However, then why would not Bronn be the muscle right here? In spite of everything, like with Dave Batista, he is overflowing with air of mystery, and additionally, just like the Guardians of the Galaxy, big name, he has one of the maximum extraordinary energy flow talent units out there. Simply study that spear he lately gave to Carito on an episode of Raw. In case you do not accept as true with us, we might cross as a long way, as to mention that wasn't even a spear, it became a full-blown missile. So given he has all these items going for him, then it appears probable that barring something like a catastrophic harm, Bronn may be capable of comply with inside the footsteps of Batista, with the aid of using ultimately breaking away from his solid and turning into a baby-faced big name, something a good way to probable takes place, whilst he activates the dastardly Seth Rollins in some unspecified time in the future, and after that, international titles and WrestleMania, important occasions, absolute confidence, it truly is proper. The future appears brilliant for the dog-faced gremlin, so brilliant that we conflict to assume him now, no longer being a pinnacle man in WWE for many future years. At this factor, all he needs is that large perspective to skyrocket him up, the one's very last few rungs, possibly something which includes him giving a thumbs down to the architect, and from there intending to spear his soul out of his frame. However, what approximately the alternative rookie of Evolution? Randy Orton actually, he became additionally desirable, sufficient to advantage having a present-day counterpart, properly sure he became, and that counterpart for our cash pretty simply must be Miles Bourne. Now, whilst it comes to those, the comparisons in lots of approaches are apparent, in spite of everything lower back during the 2000s. Randy Orton became capable of upward thrust, all of the manner to the pinnacle of WWE in short order, with a fashion that became very calculating and conniving in its nature. Positive. He may want to get explosive each time he had to. However, for the maximum element, the Viper became satisfied to take his time and cross at a leisurely tempo, regularly picking aside his fighters with a well-placed draping DDT or headlock, and as soon as the time became proper, it might generally be an RKO out of nowhere, which placed the very last nail with inside the coffin of the person status on the alt.